Good morning, you beautiful people, and welcome back to some Vanguard. The holidays are over. I haven't played Vanguard in such a long time, and Sledgehammer is also back from their holiday. I'll say it, I prefer this map on Tactical rather than Blitz. Anyway, Sledgehammer sent out this tweet saying that the break is finally over and they're going to be changing some things soon. They're going to change the Panzerfaust camo, they're going to change some perks around and help things with fire. They're going to do weapon balancing pass, buffing the snipers and nerfing the shotguns. And they're going to hopefully nerf the mortar barrage. Actually, they did say nerf the mortar barrage, tweak its duration. All of those changes are fantastic, and I don't think that's the complete list of changes. I just think those are the main ones that they want to share with the community. But I gotta say, despite the community's feelings towards Vanguard, I'm actually having a pretty positive experience, at least still having a pretty positive experience. You see, I've always had this feeling that Vanguard is a great base game. I like the gameplay of Vanguard. I love how many maps there are. I love how many weapons there are. I don't mind the perk balance and the equipment and the kill streaks, at least the way they're set up. But overall, that makes for a pretty decent Call of Duty experience for me. And yet, somewhere in the middle of this launch, the community got super toxic and super negative. And I found it confusing because I really like the base gameplay, and apparently so did the majority of the community when the game first launched, especially after the beta. So how did we go from a majority of the community really loving the game to this really negative and displeased portion of the community? Honestly, the correct answer, in my opinion, it has to be death by 1,000 cuts. There are so many tiny little things, these bugs, these unbalanced things about the game that they just come piled together. I mean, you have the obvious stuff like the grenade spam and how unbalanced some of these grenades are. And you have like the mortar barrage, and especially in hardcore, those grenades too. The mortar barrage being so broken and overpowered, the spawns being really terrible, and even this this weaponsmith system where you can pick 10 attachments, it's just really crazy. And it leads to a lot of inconsistencies within the gameplay itself. And of course, a lot of the community plays the game to get the camo challenges, and when a whole heck of a lot of them were broken and not working right, that doesn't look good for the developers either. And it's little stuff like these bombers just are so powerful and they're so difficult. Well, they're not difficult to shoot down, but there's no announcement each time they're called in. So all of these really tiny little details compound on themselves to make a really frustrating gameplay experience, which is really frustrating for me because I think the core gameplay is really solid. I look at these issues and I see the list of all of these things and they're all really small. They're nothing game breaking. I mean, the most game breaking stuff might be the spawns and maybe some of the kill streaks, the mortar barrage and all that stuff. Because each of these problems have been bigger issues in other Call of Duties. Other Call of Duties have had worse weapon balance. Other Call of Duties have had way worse explosion balance. Other Call of Duties have had worst skill-based matchmaking. Like, don't get me wrong, I'm not saying the game's perfect or anything, but these are really tiny problems that really I don't care too much about. That being said, when it's like 2 months after the game's released and there hasn't really been a huge update that fixes a lot of these major issues that have been issues since day one, it does get quite concerning. In fact, there's that FaZe Jev video where he just went off on Sledgehammer about the Panzerfaust challenges and how it's such an easy fix. It's such a small thing that is what's frustrating about it. The fact that it's such a small, easy fix is frustrating that it's not been fixed yet. Now, obviously, none of us are game devs, so we can't say easy versus hard or whatever, but compared to other Call of Duties, these smaller bugs and stuff, they either weren't in the game at all or they were fixed pretty quickly. So what does Sledgehammer need to do to win back the community? If the foundation of the game is solid and there's enough content there to be solid, what are they gonna do to keep the community playing? Honestly, I think the update that they just sent out on Twitter is the first step: good communication. I think life could be improved by just proper communication with the people you need to communicate to. Just the fact that they said, hey, these challenges, and hey, these guns that you're frustrated with, and hey, these abilities and grenades that you're frustrated with, we're taking a look at them. We're gonna try to do our best to tweak them. This Volk is not doing it for me. So good communication, step 1, they're doing that pretty decently now that they're back from their break. And the next step is just doing it. Fixing these bugs where the sound goes in and out. Rebalancing these grenades where they're not so spammy and just crazy, and it becomes more about who can survive the most grenades rather than who can outshoot somebody. Changing these weapons so that the time to kill is actually consistent and you're not getting 2 shot by one gun and then you have to shoot somebody 7 times with another gun. They should just take out weapon bloom as a whole like they did in Warzone because it's a dumb mechanic. Completely redesigning the Panzerfaust, you know, so that it's actually usable for taking down stuff out of the air. Making it so that this bug right here, where it just doesn't let you go to your loadout, that's been in there since launch for 2 months. This game doesn't need an overhaul, Sledgehammer. This isn't like World War II where your kind of foundation was a little weird. These are small, tiny, manageable updates that have no reason for being in the game. You have a solid foundation. You have a great core gameplay. You have a great foundation. But there are a lot of really tiny, minuscule changes that you're gonna need to make in order to win back the community. The kill streak balance, the perk balance, the grenade balance, the weapon balance. It's a lot of work. I'm not saying that it's an easy job, but after playing this game for a good couple months, I'm starting to understand those really tiny things just compiling onto each other and making for a less than ideal experience. That being said, there is something in-game that you are doing that is definitely ruining your experience, and if you change it, it will definitely improve your experience. If you're wondering what that thing is, go ahead, check out that video, and as always, stay beautiful.